Welcome back to our channel, Secret Coins Wealth. These rare wheat penny coins make people rich. Let's find out why. Don't miss out one of these who know a single coin make you rich. Number 1. You'd probably ignore it without a second thought. A dull brown penny, scratched, worn, almost forgotten at the bottom of a jar. But what if I told you that this exact coin could quietly be worth over $1 million? And most people spend it like it's nothing. It sounds crazy, but stay with me. Because this isn't just any penny. This is a 1941 Lincoln wheat penny, with a small D mint mark, and that dirty copper shade that makes it look completely ordinary. Almost ugly. The kind of coin people don't even bother picking up. And that's exactly why it slips through hands every single day. Most people ignore it because it doesn't shine. It doesn't look special. It doesn't scream value. In fact, the dirtier and more worn it looks, the more likely someone tosses it aside or spends it without thinking twice. But here's the part that flips everything. Some of these 1941 D pennies, especially ones with rare mint errors or exceptional condition, have sold for thousands, even tens of thousands of dollars, and in extremely rare cases, when combined with high-grade preservation or unique minting flaws, collectors have pushed values toward the $1 million range. Yes, a single cent, turning into a life-changing payday. Now here's what separates the worthless from the valuable. And this is where most people mess up. First, look at the date. It must say 1941. No guessing. No looks like. It has to be clear. Next, check right under the year. You're looking for a tiny D. That means it was minted in Denver. And that small letter can completely change the coin story. Now comes the detail almost nobody checks. Look closely at the surface, especially around Lincoln's face and the wheat stalks on the back. Do you see doubling? Like the letters or numbers look slightly shadowed or thick. That's called a double die error, and it can multiply the value instantly. Also check the color. That dirty copper tone you see. Don't clean it, ever. Because natural aging is exactly what collectors want. Once you clean it, you destroy the value, sometimes completely. And here's something most beginners miss. Run your finger lightly across the coin. Does it feel unusually sharp for its age? Like the details are still crisp? That could mean it's in higher grade condition, and grading is where prices explode. Let me tell you a quick story. A man in Ohio, just sorting through his late father's coin jar, almost skipped over a dark, dirty penny. It didn't shine, didn't stand out, but something made him pause. He checked the date, 1941, saw the D, then noticed slight doubling in the lettering. He didn't clean it, didn't mess with it, just sent it for grading. A few weeks later, that worthless penny came back as a high-grade error coin, and it sold for over $40,000. One coin, sitting unnoticed for years. Now imagine how many people had that same coin and spent it on coffee or dropped it in a vending machine. That's the real danger. These coins are rare, not because they don't exist, but because people don't recognize them. They get missed, overlooked, treated like trash, and every day, more of them disappear back into circulation, or get damaged, or cleaned by mistake. So here's what you need to do. Right now, grab any pennies you have, check the date, look for 1941, find that tiny D, inspect the details closely, and if something looks even slightly unusual, don't ignore it. And whatever you do, don't clean the coin, don't polish it, don't improve it, because that one mistake can erase thousands. If you think you've got something special, get it checked, get it graded, and only then decide what to do. Because the difference between 1 cent and a small fortune is often just a tiny detail most people never notice. And here's the part that should really get your attention. There's another coin out there, even easier to miss, even more valuable in the right condition, and people are still spending it every single day without realizing. So before you walk away, check your coins. Seriously. And if you find a 1941D like this, I want you to comment immediately, because you might be holding something most collectors spend years searching for. And trust me, the next coin I'm going to show you makes this one look common. Number 2, a single penny, dark, worn, almost black with age. The kind you wouldn't even bend down to pick up. But what if that exact coin could quietly be worth over $1 million? And it's sitting in your pocket right now. Sounds unreal. But this is exactly how people miss it every day. We're talking about a 1956 Lincoln wheat penny. No mint mark. Just a plain date. And that deep dirty brown copper shade that makes it look completely ordinary. Almost worthless at first glance. And that's the trap. Because when there's no mint mark under the date, it means the coin was made in Philadelphia and millions were produced. So people assume it has no value. They ignore it, spend it, or throw it into jars without a second thought. But here's where things get serious. Some 1956 pennies, especially those with rare doubling errors or unusual strike characteristics, have sold for thousands of dollars. And in extremely rare high-grade cases, collectors have pushed values toward the $1 million level. Not because every coin is rare, but because a few are incredibly special. And most people never notice the difference. Now listen carefully, because this is where the real value hides. Look at the date, 1956, clear and readable. Then check under the date. If there is no mint mark, that's exactly what you want. Now zoom in with your eyes or your phone camera. Look at the word Liberty and In God We Trust. Do the letters look slightly doubled, like there's a shadow or thickness around them? That's a double die error, and that's where things start getting expensive. Flip the coin. Look at the wheat lines on the back. Are they sharp and strong, or faded and flat? Sharp detail means higher grade, and higher grade means higher money. Also pay attention to the color. That dark brown tone might look ugly to you, but collectors call it original surface, and that's valuable. Never clean it, never polish it, because the moment you do, you can destroy a coin worth thousands. Let me give you something real. A retired mechanic in Texas, going through a coffee can full of old change, almost skipped over a dark 1956 penny. It didn't shine, didn't look special, but he checked it anyway. Notice slight doubling in the lettering, and the coin had unusually sharp detail. He sent it for grading, waited weeks, and when it came back, it sold for over $25,000. One coin ignored for years. Now think about how many people had that same coin and spend it without looking. That's why these coins are dangerous. They don't look rare. They don't feel rare. They blend in perfectly with everyday change. And that's exactly why they disappear. Every day, people use them in stores, drop them in machines, or clean them thinking they're improving them, without realizing they just erased serious value. So here's what you need to do. Right now, grab your pennies, check for 1956, confirm there's no mint mark, inspect the letters closely, look for doubling, check the sharpness, and if anything looks unusual, stop. Don't touch it further. And if you find one like this, I want you to comment right now. Don't think twice, because you could be holding something most collectors spend years hunting for. Get it graded, get a professional opinion, and only then decide to sell, because guessing can cost you money. And here's the part most people don't see coming. There's another penny out there, even more common looking, even easier to miss. But in the right condition, it has sold for over $2 million. And people are still spending it every single day. Without a clue. Number 3 and last unique coin. A single penny. Scratched. Dark brown. Almost forgotten in an old drawer. The kind of coin you'd never think twice about. But what if that exact coin could secretly be worth over $1 million? Sitting in plain sight. Right now? And yes, if you find this specific version, people have literally made life-changing money from it, just by checking something most people ignore. This is a 1951 Lincoln wheat penny. No mint mark, heavily worn, dirty dark copper color, with scratches that make it look completely useless, like it's been through decades of neglect. And that's exactly why it gets ignored. Because no mint mark means it was made in Philadelphia, and billions of coins came from there. So people assume it's common, worthless, just pocket change. So they spend it, lose it, or throw it into jars without even looking. But here's the truth that changes everything. Some 1951 pennies, especially ones with rare mint errors or extreme high-grade preservation, have sold from a few $1,000s, all the way up to tens of thousands. And in very rare collector cases tied to perfect condition and error combination values can climb into the $1 million conversation. Not because every coin is rare, but because a few are absolutely perfect mistakes, and collectors pay crazy money for those. Now listen closely, because this is where people either find money or miss it forever. First, check the year. It must clearly show 1951. No fading guesses, no blurry numbers. Next, confirm there is no mint mark under the date, clean and empty space. Now look at the letters on the front, especially Liberty and In God We Trust. If the letters look doubled, like a faint shadow sits beside them, that's a double die error, and that is where real value begins. Then flip the coin. Look at the wheat stalks on the back. Are they sharp and deep in detail, or smooth and worn flat? Sharp detail often means higher grade condition, and grading is where prices explode. Also pay attention to the surface. That dark brown scratched look might seem ugly, but collectors call it original untouched patina, and that can actually increase value. And here's a rule you cannot break. Never clean the coin, never polish it, not even slightly, because cleaning destroys natural surface, and that can erase thousands of dollars instantly. Let me tell you something real. A man in Pennsylvania was sorting through his late grandfather's old coin box. Nothing special, just rusted pennies and junk change. He almost ignored a scratched 1951 penny, but noticed the lettering looked slightly doubled under light. He checked again, then sent it for grading, not expecting anything. Weeks later, that worthless penny came back as a rare error coin in high condition, and it sold for over $38,000. One tiny coin, completely overlooked. Now think about how many of these are still out there, sitting in jars, cash registers, old piggy banks, just waiting to be spent without a second thought. That's the danger. These coins don't look valuable. They don't shine. They don't stand out. They blend in perfectly with everyday change. And that's exactly why people lose them. Every day, someone unknowingly spends one, thinking it's just a penny. So here's what you need to do right now. Seriously, don't wait. Go through your coins. Check for 1951. Confirm no mint mark. Look closely at the lettering for doubling. Inspect the condition under light. And if anything feels unusual, stop immediately. And whatever you do, do not clean it, do not damage it. Because that decision alone can decide whether it's worth 1 cent or thousands. If you find anything even close to this, comment immediately. because you might be holding something collectors actively hunt for every single day. Get it checked professionally. Grading is the only way to know real value, not guessing. And here's the part nobody expects. There's another Lincoln penny out there, even easier to overlook than this one, and in the right condition. It has shocked collectors with even higher prices, and most people still don't know it's passing through their hands every single day.